the only thing that could tear down the House of the Dragon was itself.
Hi, hope you guys are doing well. It's time for my review of House of the Dragon Episode 2, Second of His Name. Right from the get-go, we start this episode with Daemon arriving on Caraxes and burning the Triarchy. I really liked how it looked, especially Caraxes, and I think the dragons get better and better in every episode. And I really liked that kind of glimmer that was surrounding Caraxes whenever he spat fire. Like, you could really tell that this is a red dragon. We then of course cut to the royal hunt, or at least the preparations for that hunt. The thing that really stood out to me in this scene, or the scenes that we had there, was that Hobart Hightower was kind of digging at Otto Hightower for not pushing Aegon II more. And I really like that. In all 3 episodes, there seems to be a lot of focus on character motivations, on self-interest. And I really like that because, well, even though Otto Hightower is Hand of the King, he still kind of answers to Hobart Hightower. Without him being the Hand of the King, he has nothing. He is the second son, he inherits nothing. So I just think it's kind of a nice little nuance that there's someone that he kind of answers to. We also get our very first look at House Lannister in this episode. Tywin Lannister is urging King Viserys to do something about the war for the Stepstones. It's been going on for 3 years now, and it's really taken a toll on the trading. We'll talk more about House Lannister as well as Viserys later. So let's jump to the next thing I want to talk about. Alicent and Rhaenyra in the Godswood. For the first time we can really see that there's gonna be a rift between the two. Alicent seems to stay somewhat sympathetic towards Rhaenyra, while Rhaenyra is not having any of it. I'm gonna repeat myself here, but I really enjoyed them having Alicent and Rhaenyra being around the same age. I think that really helped us as viewers understand where these characters are coming from, what drives them, and how this ultimately ties into the overall conflict later on. Those scenes are gonna be very sad to look back to. We then of course get our first glimpse at both of Lyonel Strong's sons, Harwin and Larys Clubfoot, and I think they did a very good job here. It was very subtle, especially with Larys Strong. He's a very clever guy, very reserved, and he rarely speaks without intent. He really thinks about what he's saying. He of course didn't partake in the royal hunt and joined the powerful ladies of Westeros, and that was a very clever thing. I really liked how they had him sit there, not say anything. That's very accurate, and I think that this is something that will continue all throughout the show. He's a guy that will always just lurk around in the background and pull the strings from behind, and whenever he does something, it's actually gonna have a huge impact. So in this scenario, he's just trying to gather as much information as he can, and it's a very neat introduction of a very important character. Harwin Strong, on the other hand, I'm not going to spoil what happens with him, but he's gonna be very important, and I really like the little smile he gave Rhaenyra towards the end of the episode. So we've talked about Tywin Lannister, so it's time to talk about Jason Lannister. As many of you might know already, Jefferson Hall, who played Sir Hugh of the Whale, plays both Tywin and Jason Lannister in House of the Dragon. I don't know if I'm making shit up, but for me, Jason Lannister was kind of talking like early Tyrion Lannister, especially when it comes to the pride in his voice and just how he pronounced things, how he was talking about things. It was very similar to, let's say, a season 1 or season 2 Tyrion Lannister. But maybe I'm just seeing things. I mean, it would only make sense. House Lannister of Casterly Rock is a very proud house, and as Viserys told Otto Hightower, their pride has pride. Was a very funny remark there. I also really enjoyed everything that had to do with the White Hart, the White Stag in this episode. It's so good to see that House of the Dragon respects the mythology and symbolism of A Song of Ice and Fire. And ultimately, the White Stag really had Viserys contemplate his choices. I really liked that this was a theme all throughout the episode. Especially his scene with Alicent Hightower later on is amazing. The way he talks about Targaryen dreams, it really all comes together. Like, it really feels like A Song of Ice and Fire. The typical bullshit prophecies that drive our characters towards doom and failure. I feel like I keep saying that Paddy Considine is a phenomenal actor week in and week out, but I gotta say one more time, wow. And I really hope that his portrayal of Viserys catapults him into another dimension for him as an actor in his career. The White Stag then of course appears to Rhaenyra and Criston Cole, and Criston Cole, Rhaenyra, and us as viewers, we're the only ones who get to see the White Stag, so it's a very beautiful scene and it's very intentional. Which really leaves me curious now. Is House of the Dragon going to portray a neutral conflict between blacks and greens? Or are they going for Rhaenyra as hero of the story? I guess we'll find out, but it's a very interesting one. I personally hope that it stays pretty much neutral. I just hope that this show doesn't unnecessarily make anyone too likable or anyone too hateable. But we'll see. As I said, I'm very curious to find out. So I was pretty much just praising this episode so far. I really liked all of the character moments. It's really incredible how fleshed out these characters are already with just 3 episodes now. Sadly, I have my problems with the War for the Stepstones. I like how it starts. The way Daemon arrived on Caraxes and of course the little war council, we finally got to see Laenor and Daemon Velaryon as well as Joffrey, who's gonna be important as well. I also really liked how Laenor called his uncle Master of Complaints. That was a very funny line. And then I'm sorry, the plan is just kind of goofy. We're told that this has been going on for 3 years now. I mean, was this just 3 years of constant dragon attacks and the Triarchy running into the caves? It's kind of silly. I'm sorry. But anyway, of course, Daemon receives the letter of King Viserys, who tells him that he's going to send 2,000 men to his aid, which he didn't like at all. That is very, very much Daemon. It's all about him, his glory, his search for purpose in this world, and what follows is just something that I don't like in today's television and film in general. These constant Deus Ex Machina moments, these constant plot armor moments. I mean, yeah, Daemon got caught, but was he ever really in trouble? Why did all of the Triarchy run out of their caves? Why didn't they just go in groups like they just did when Daemon fought them off? It's a bit wacky, it's a bit silly. I know it's not that big of a deal. I went into it and I didn't expect too much. I knew that those were just pirates. I knew that those scenes cost a lot of money and we have very, very important scenes down the line in the season that they have to spend a lot of money on. So I knew that it's not gonna be a Battle of Blackwater Bay. Another thing that I see many people complaining about is of course that they had Daemon kill the crab feeder off screen, but man, it's not that deep. I mean, Daemon has a Valyrian steel sword, so I didn't mind that at all. I just think, then again, why give him grayscale? Like, obviously, you can come out and say, yeah, it's the dormant kind, it's healed, it's not spreading, whatever, but why give him that character feature? Again, that's not groundbreaking for me or anything like that, but I just have to be honest here. The way it looked, however, was phenomenal. I really liked Laenor on Sea Smoke. I liked the little beard they gave Sea Smoke. Very cool. And yeah, this obviously looked like a Game of Thrones battle. I just hope that a House of the Dragon battle will match the House of the Dragon writing for our characters, because, well, then we're in for a real treat. One shot that I absolutely loved was the shot of Daemon dragging Craig's Drahar's upper body through the sea and the dragon flying above him. That was such a phenomenal shot. And as I said, it looked really good. It was very stunning, and the way it was directed was very good. I really enjoyed seeing it for the first time. But then it had me thinking, like, okay, wait a minute. But again, not groundbreaking. The last thing that I want to mention today is the music, and was amazing, really, really good. Felt like Game of Thrones from beginning to end, and Ramin Djawadi is a genius. So yeah, overall, I liked this episode. It was a good episode in my opinion. The focus on our characters' self-interest will add so many layers to the discourse that it was always meant to happen for the show. It was always gonna be about the choosing sides, greens, blacks, whatever. It was always gonna make for a great discussion. But the way they're setting up these characters, our main characters, the way they're focusing on small things, will make those discussions even better. And I really, really enjoy this kind of storytelling so far. Rhaenyra and Viserys were once again my MVPs of this episode, but I do have a few little problems. So all in all, I would give this episode a 7 out of 10. And that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing to the channel, would very much appreciate that. And until then, see you very soon, take care, and see us later.